Welcome to another edition of WCW How I Would Book It 1998. I've done this for 14 episodes and still nothing. And still I don't know how to say the title. It is How I Would Book It WCW 1998. And this, my friends, is uncensored. And also, this is a new start for the series. Hopefully, you guys enjoy it a little bit more. If you notice the difference, please feel free and drop a comment down in the comment section below what you think the difference is for this part in this series. This pay-per-view uncensored. Now, for the start of this pay-per-view, we kick off with Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho in the ring as Chris Benoit defends his television championship against his rival Chris Jericho tonight to kick off Uncensored in what is somewhat of a disappointing start to what is usually a lackluster pay-per-view. But Chris Benoit either way retains the television title and successfully defends the title for his 7th time. Now we move to the next segment, which is Eric Bischoff in the ring calling out the president of the of the Championship Committee for WCW, Tully Blanchard. What does Eric Bischoff have to say? Eric Bischoff has to say Eric Bischoff comes out and he's frustrated, he's flustered because of the announcement that Tully Blanchard made last week on Nitro with Hollywood Hulk Hogan, involving Hollywood Hulk Hogan's match against Sting tonight for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and him putting Randy Savage as the special guest referee. It's not long before Eric just calls out Tully Blanchard to get him face to face. Does Tully Blanchard say, "Eric, you might be the executive producer, but I am the president of the championship committee, and that means I have power over you in championship matches, because that is my job, and it means I put Randy Savage in the match, and there is nothing you can do to change that. And if you try, when I got hired by a man named Dr. Harvey Schiller, your boss. So if you have a problem with it, go take it up with him, because I am your worst nightmare." And here comes Mr. Randy Savage to save their segment and tell Eric, you got nothing to worry about. Just like when I fought Hulk Hogan last month at Super Brawl, and that match was right down the middle, I will call this match right down the middle, and we will have a clear-cut winner. Oh yeah. You just need to relax. You know what? I'm gonna do this for Randy because it's been a long time coming, and now Randy is a babyface. Lex Luger versus Scott Norton. See, behind the scenes last week, I actually suspended Buff Bagwell for 28 days for failing a drug test. So I chose to bring Lex Luger in. Have Scott Norton take Buff Bagwell's spot against Total Package tonight. And Lex Luger gets the victory over Scott Norton, as now you might be saying he is one step closer to getting his hands on that scrawny little coward, Buff Bagwell, now that he defeated Buff's partner, Scott Norton. If you saw last week on Nitro, Scott Steiner was caught backstage warming up, and Vincent walked into the shot, and Vincent and Vincent and Vincent handed Scott Steiner what looked to be a business card. Now Scott Steiner bumps into Kurt Hennig. This time, Scott Steiner is warming up for his match later tonight with his brother against Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team titles. And Kurt Hennig says one thing that is interesting. And that one thing is, tell DiBiase it's going to happen. Which leads everybody to question, what's going to happen? What is Hennig talking about, and what does it have to do with Scott Steiner and Ted DiBiase? Now we move to the next segment as Diamond Dallas Page's feud against the Flock continues, as this week he faces Lodi and Kidman in a handicap match. And guess what? Now the only member of the Flock left is Raven. And this will lead to Raven against Diamond Dallas Page for the United States title very soon. But now we go backstage with with Tully, and we're in Tully Blanchard's office. I apologize. Tully Blanchard is walking down the hallway, and he hears a familiar voice. The voice of the Nature Boy. And Flair says to Tully, "You are the president of the championship committee." First he says, "Tully, it's great to see you again, my friend. It's been too long." "It's great to see you too, Rick." "Yeah, it's been a long time. What do you want?" "Tully, I want a match against Sid Vicious tonight. I want to get my revenge on Sid. Because fact of the matter is, he cost me my opportunity to be in the main event tonight, and I want to get my hands on him." "You know what, Rick? Sid has been causing you this he's been a thorn in your side for long enough. You got your match." And then Arn walks into the shot. Why does Arn walk into the shot? Arn walks into the shot for one reason and one reason only. And if you don't know this, you've never seen a show in the wrestling in the 1980s, because of the fact that Arn walking into the shot, this is the first time in 20 years, in about 15 years, that Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, and Tully Blanchard, I apologize, 10 years, because Arn and Tully left in 89, or 88, I can't really remember. It's the first time in almost 10 years that Arn, Tully, and Flair are all together on the same television station. Because though Arn came back after Tully and Arn went to WWE, Tully never came back. This is their first time together. And why am I doing this? To make people pop for the original Horsemen. Arn, Tully, Flair. Now it's on to the next one. On to the next match. And it is the winners of the match, Harlem Heat, Booker T, and Stevie Ray, as Scott Steiner turns on his brother. Now you might be thinking, you understand what's going on. 'Cause you might understand what's going on, but you have to tune into Nitro tomorrow night to totally understand what's going on. But either way, the Steiners are out, Harlem Heat is in, and Harlem Heat are the new WCW World Tag Team Champions. And now we're on to the next match, on to the next segment, backstage with Mean Gene and Randy Savage. And Gene asks Randy, he said that Randy, you said on Nitro that you believe you deserve a WCW World Title shot tonight. Will that stop you from calling the match tonight between Sting and Hollywood Hogan for the world title down the middle? Because you believe you should be the one challenging Sting and not Hogan. Listen, Mean Gene, I said it before and I'll say it again. I will call this match right down the middle, just like my match against Hollywood was last month at Super Brawl. But you did say something right, and that is, I deserve that shot more than Hogan. But it will not stop me from calling this match right down the middle. Oh yeah! Now we move to this streak match with Goldberg this week against Conan. This pay-per-view has been a crapshoot. I'm leaning heavily on the last couple segments in the main event, but whatever. There's nothing much else to say about this match other than the fact that it was the streak match. Now we head backstage again, and the heavily featured and the highly talked about Randy Savage. This time, Randy is backstage in the locker room, getting on his stripes, and Kevin Nash walks in to the picture. And Kevin says to Randy, with Scott out of the picture, it's up to me and you to get rid of the cancer to this company that is the NWO. And you can do that tonight by making sure Hollywood does not walk out with the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Listen here, Kevin. I said it before and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. I will call this match down the middle, just like it was called down the middle last month. Randy, it wasn't called down the middle last month. Half the NWO interfered. You were screwed out of your shot to be the leader of the NWO. Hogan will do everything in his power to make sure the NWO stays the strongest entity in this company. It's up to me and you to start chipping away at that group. Because if we don't, who will? It needs to start at the top. And if we start, people will follow. I guarantee it. Let me think about it, Kevin. Let me think about it. And he walks out. Now we move to the next match. One of the highly anticipated matchups of this pay-per-view, and that is Sid Vicious against Ric Flair, because Sid and Greg Valentine are the mystery men that have been attacking everyone that Flair has everyone from Flair to Roddy Piper to Arn Anderson since the start of 1998. And this is Sid's first match in WCW, and Sid is victorious due to a botched interference from Roddy Piper when Roddy accidentally hit Ric Flair. I mean, it's quite obvious why Roddy came out, because Roddy, much like Double A, was assaulted by Sid in the past, and he wanted his revenge, and he couldn't wait to get him in the ring. He couldn't wait till after Flair got his fair shake. He messed up, and he let the idea of revenge get in the way of his good judgment. Now we move backstage, and now, following the contest, Flair is arguing with Piper, and Piper is a little flustered by the fact that he accidentally cost Flair the match, and Flair's not happy with Piper, and eventually he storms away, furious that he lost the match due to Piper's interference, even though Flair never wanted Piper to be out there in the first place. Piper came out on his own. And now we move backstage. Now we move to Michael Buffer for the introductions to the main event. And they would go a little bit something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event of Uncensored for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And I just have one question. Are you ready? No. Taco Bell Center in Idaho. Are you ready? Then, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, and for Hulk Hogan and Sting, oh, let's get ready to rumble! First, let me introduce to you the special guest referee for this contest from Pensacola, Florida, the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Randy would make his entrance dressed in the black and white for the referee, as a referee, and then the NWO music would play, and Michael Buffer would say nothing as Hollywood makes his entrance. And then we move to the next as Sting's music plays and Sting makes his entrance. And then we move to the next as Michael Buffer is back on the microphone and says, "This, fans, is your main event of WCW Uncensored. Let me introduce to you first the challenger from Venice, he is the leader of the New World Order, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and his opponent, the champion. He is from Venice Beach, California, the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. This is Sting." And fans, Sting retains the WCW World Heavyweight title against Hollywood Hulk Hogan in a hard-fought match, but Randy Savage kept his promise and called the match right down the middle. And Sting is victorious tonight to close the book on the show, and post-match, Sting and Randy Savage celebrate Sting's victory. And Randy cannot keep his eyes off of the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, and that leads to a face-off between Sting and Randy to end as the show goes to a black, and we hear Tony Schiavone say, "Fans, we are out of time. See you tomorrow night for WCW Monday Nitro on TNT. This fans was one of the best pay-per-views we've had this year. As you see, it increased our popularity in 15 regions. And actually, this is the first time you guys can actually see the entire screen. Which should tell you something. This, I hope, is the start of things to come. Is the start of better shows for me and WCW, because this might make this last a little bit longer. Well, the game sure thinks we had a good. This game sure thinks we had a good show, but I want to know what you thought of the show. Drop a comment in the comment section below. What you thought of the show, and if you liked the show, and you want to show how much you liked it, leave a like or subscribe to the channel for more unique content just like this that you can only find right here on Wrestling Express. Till next time, thanks for joining me.